G'day folks, welcome back to the Buddez podcast. Many of us have websites. I'd say all small businesses have a website, but that's only step 1. Step 2 through 10 is all about how to optimize that website for your customers, and that's what Emily Fitton specializes in. She's our guest today. You will love the advice she's got for us. Let's say g'day to Emily. G'day, Emily. Tell me about A/B testing.
So A/B testing is something we do quite a lot in the web industry. We do it on various different parts. It kind of covers a broad range of different things. So we can do it on websites where we're testing different things, but we also do it in our media advertising as well. So when we're doing Google ads and Facebook ads, those types of things, we also do A/B testing.
Okay. Is it always only an A and a B?
No. So we tend to call it A/B testing as a generic name, but we also can do ABN tests. So that basically we can have multiple variants that we can test against.
Okay.
And actually that can be a quicker way of getting results.
Okay. So what sort of, if I'm a social media marketer or I'm posting content about my business, what sort of things could I test?
So you're not really going to be able to do it with social content, like organic content. It tends to be in advertising. So when you're doing the adverts for Facebook and Google, you can do all sorts of different testing. So Facebook's a little bit more of a closed system. It'll allow you to test things like different headlines for your ads, different images for your ads, and you can kind of compare the results.
Okay.
And that's a really good way of, especially when you're first starting out with Facebook. Facebook takes a while to learn your business, learn what works, learn what audience to send through, that type of thing. It's a really good way of kind of getting that to the end result quicker. So you create, basically what you do is you create an ad and you duplicate that ad, and then you will change just one thing. The most important thing about A/B testing is not to change multiple things in your second test, because then you don't know which one of those things worked. It's really important that you only do small changes at a time.
Okay, so I might change my offer, for example.
Yeah, that's quite a big change to make. I mean, we'd make smaller changes, just like the title of the ad.
Okay.
So it might, so for example, we've got one running for a client at the moment, and one of them says they're a Porsche workshop. One of them says Porsche servicing in Chatswood, which is where they're based. And the other one has a dynamic title. So it'll say Porsche servicing in wherever suburb that person just searched for. And it auto completes it. And then we can compare, well, which works better? Is it just better to say that, and we're looking at conversions at this point. So they'll go through and did they actually fill in the form or email us? And did it work better to tell them actually where we were in Chatswood, or did it work better to look like we were actually in their suburb?
Okay.
So then you can compare those results. So it's literally just one word in the ad, and then we can compare those.
Okay. So you could change a headline. You could maybe change an image.
Yep, change an image. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. So I might show the whole Porsche, just the Porsche symbol. I might show the dealership.
But again, it's really important that you're only changing one thing. So if you change the image, don't change the title as well, because then you don't know which one worked.
Right. See, I think I get greedy, Emily. I want to change a whole lot of things.
I know. It's very tempting to do that. And you can duplicate it multiple times. So you can have one where you change the image, one where you change the title, one where you do both, and see if that helps. So that's where the multivariant comes in, comparing them. But it's really important in your test just to make sure that you're splitting those things out.
Okay. How long have you been doing this for, Emily? Like this A/B testing?
Quite a while at various different levels. It's increased in sophistication over the years. So we would do this in marketing quite a lot since we started 14 years ago. But it used to be a much more manual process, and a lot of kind of working out statistics and stuff like that. Yeah. Whereas as time went on, these systems were built in automatically. Okay. So Facebook actually already does this for you. Once it's got out of its learning phase, you'll just give it, say, 5 or 6 titles, and it will pick and choose the ones it thinks are best, the ones are converting best. So you don't even see any of the information that's going behind the scenes of how it's choosing those. It decides for you.
Okay. Yeah. It's serving up like different offers to different audiences? Or
and it uses its own statistics based on what it knows about that audience, which is a huge amount of data that we're not allowed to see. Yeah. But also, how many of each one converts. So if it's got one ad with a certain title that converts way better than others, it will pick that ad more often.
I see. Okay.
And show it to people more often.
And that's in the Meta program. That's
there. Just built in. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if I was running my business, I might not have time to really understand how to do that. would I?
Well, that's where Facebook's quite good and it does a lot of things behind the scenes. We find it frustrating as marketers because we want to see all the statistics behind it and really dig into it deeply. But as a
Yeah.
business owner, it's actually really good because you'll just give it like 5 or 6 titles and
Yeah.
it will just pick and choose for you. So all you've got to do is that kind of initial setup of those titles and it will do the rest.
Okay. So where's your favorite place to do A/B testing, Emily?
So I like to do it on the website side because we have a lot more control and when we do it on a website side. So like when you're doing advertising, you're kind of giving a lot of like information to them and just letting them handle it.
Yeah.
I like to see much more in detail. So we use a program called VWO for most of our conversion clients. VWO,
Does that stand for
Visual
something?
Website Optimizer, it's called.
Okay.
And it's a tool that you just install and it has a little builder. I mean, Google used to have one for free and it was awesome. And we used to do lots in it. They scrapped that project. So you can't get any more. They used to have one called Google Optimize, which we used to use a lot.
Okay.
But basically what you can do is very small changes on the website. For e-commerce clients, we might do something like change the color of an add to cart button or, change some wording. So we do a lot with trust factors and stuff like that. So if we put the free returns or free shipping further up the page, does that have a bigger impact on people actually adding to cart because they've seen that information early on, those types of things. So we'll do a lot of those kind of changes and see what kind of impact that then has on the end conversions.
Okay. So what, you're working in programs like Shopify, are you?
Yeah, so we use Shopify, WordPress, Craft CMS, all sorts of different platforms. We're fairly platform agnostic from our point of view. Because I'm a developer, we can work with any kind of platform really. Obviously, there's ones we prefer to use than others.
Okay.
But we're fairly flexible in terms of what platforms we use.
What's your favorite?
So my favorite Craft CMS, but it's quite a complex one, but it's really customizable. But we tend to pick and choose the ones that are best based on the project. So it's a small brochure site. We're going to choose WordPress because it's just easy, it's free, it's simple. If it's a simple e-commerce store, we're going to choose Shopify because it's really great. If you've just got products and you're shipping them out and you're not doing anything particularly outside of the box with it, then Shopify is amazing. But if there's anything where you need to customize it and it's doing something like your business model is slightly different and it needs to work just slightly differently, we use Craft CMS and we use that one because it's flexible enough to change how things work.
Okay. So you'd recommend that you start doing this when you first build your website, or you first...
The most important thing to do is make sure you've got analytics first.
Okay.
So whether that's Google Analytics or whatever analytics tool you're using, it's really important to make sure that's installed and configured because we use Google Analytics as a base a lot for trying to work out where to aim. Like we can come up with a million ideas for tests. That's easy. But where's the actual problem occurring? So if you've got Google Analytics installed, you can see the conversion funnel and you can say, okay, right, I know that lots of people are adding things to cart but not getting any further.
Yes.
So we need to investigate, is it the cart page? The reason they're not getting through? Is it that they're going through and then dropping off because they've seen the shipping price? What's the actual issue happening? So Google Analytics is really, really good for drilling into where the problems are on a site.
Okay. And Shopify does something similar, doesn't it?
Shopify has its own analytics as well, but we'll always install Google Analytics as well.
Okay.
Yeah, every analytics tool records things slightly differently. So the more you've got on there, the better. The other one that's really good, it's a free one, is Microsoft Clarity.
Okay.
It does heat maps, which are really cool to look at. So basically what it tells you is how, like, you can look where people are clicking on things on the page, where they're stopping their mouse and staying on there for a while. So you get this kind of picture of the page with different kind of heat levels, depending on how long people stay there.
Okay. So the hotter the color, the better that space is?
Yeah, exactly. So the brighter the kind of yellow or red, then the people are clicking on that button a lot, or they're stopping there and viewing that for a long time. If it's blue, kind of purpley color, they're skipping past it.
Okay,
so again, you can see, and you have to analyze this because sometimes it's a matter of, it's you like somebody's clicking on the button because they're frustrated and it should be doing something and it's not, or they're clicking on the button because they're really interested in it. So you do have to kind of, there's nuance to it as you go through. And that's where the Google Analytics helps, because if they're clicking on a button and nothing's happening, you'll know because it doesn't go through to the next page. Or if, so that's where you're kind of joining all these things together.
Right.
But it's really like looking at the website side of things is really important, because you can do your marketing and you can pay for thousands of people to come to your site. But if your site doesn't convert when they get there, it's a complete waste of money.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
really like you really need to look at your site and make sure it's converting before you start spending a lot of money getting people to your site.
Yes. 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 Okay. So where did you start at this, Emily? Did you start in marketing or in web development or?
No, so yeah, I've got a degree in computer science. I'm actually a software developer by trade.
Okay, by
But
trade.
yes, by trade.
Yeah.
But yeah,
There's plumbers, carpenters, and software
yeah,
developers.
that's right. So I was working in education software when I moved to Australia, and then I started freelancing, building websites. So I would design for designers. Designers would pass me the designs, and I would build them for them. So it kind
Okay.
of just went from there.
Okay. So you started building websites and you started thinking, well, how do we know what's going to work? And then,
Yeah. So
yeah.
so then when Ryan came on board, and we started doing marketing as well. So Ryan tends to do more of the marketing side of our business. He's really analytical. He's very scientific. Everything we do kind of is based on we're not using assumptions here, we're using data. And as the tools got better and better, we could start seeing in the analytics. And it started actually off with our designer. He would really, like when we were redesigning websites, he'd go, okay, well, we've got this existing website and we want to redesign it. And we know what we like the look of, but what actually works. So we could look at their analytics and go, okay, well, these parts of the website are converting really well. Let's keep those. And let's just redesign the parts that aren't working so well.
Yes, yes. And I guess now, as time goes by, sort of testing gets more and more important because more people are buying off a website.
Yes, more people are buying off a website, and also it's more important to convert people. Like it's, where you can get, there's more competition in the market. So when you get someone to your site, you've really got to make the most of it.
Yes.
Because they have so many different options these days to go to. It's really valuable that they came to you in the first place.
Yes, and you might have bought those leads, right? You might have used paid advertising, or
advertising,
or made a lot of online content to drive people to this website. So you want to know if it's
which all
working,
costs
why it's
money
working.
to do. Whether you're doing organic and it's just your hourly time, or whether you're doing paid advertising, it all money, and you've got to make sure you've got that return on investment. So when we're looking at ads, and that's why we do a lot of A/B testing in ads as well, because when we're doing marketing for clients, we need to make sure that we're justifying the leads that we're getting through. We can get thousands of leads coming to you, that's no problem. But if those are rubbish leads that we're never going to convert in the first place, then that's pointless. We have to make sure that we're testing the audience, who we're marketing to, whether that's location or whether it's gender or what it is. We need to make sure that we're refining that as much as possible. So we're showing the ads to the least people possible, but the more to convert. Because the more ads you show to someone, obviously the more you're going to pay.
Yes.
But we want to make sure whoever we are sending through is really a warm lead, like they're really interested.
Yes. I like to think of this more as a pipe than a funnel. I don't like having like a super wide top end of funnel and then try and like qualify them down into the people that are really going to buy. I'd rather qualify them harder earlier. So I'm getting less leads, but they're higher quality.
Yes, although that does depend on the brand. So if you've got something that's, if you're a brand that's like, say, a fashion brand and it's, high turnover, in and out kind of, with this season's fashion, you want to get them, they're ready to buy, they're going to go straight through. But if you're a very posh brand, say you're a big Gucci, handbag, people want that brand. So they're happy with just brand awareness. They might just be display ads saying Gucci and they'll all be fancy and things like that because it's a much higher end.
Yes.
They don't need as many conversions.
Yes. I remember working with Toyota a few years ago, and they had a clear distinction between brand advertising and selling. And the brand advertising was about keeping people aware that Toyota was an outstanding brand. So when they're ready to buy a car, it was on the consideration list. So a lot of that brand advertising isn't actually selling. It's just reminding people of who we are.
Absolutely. We call it top of mind. We kind of keep that brand top of your mind.
Yeah. So when I'm ready to buy whatever it is I want to buy, I'm going to buy a new car, but that's going to be like 6 months away. I'm going to keep Toyota top of my mind. Or maybe Mazda or wherever the other brand is. And then I'm going to see an offer for Mazdas or Toyotas and get into my local dealership or my local Porsche dealership as you're dealing with to take a
absolutely.
test drive.
Yeah. So again, it completely depends on the type of business because, if it's a high turnover business where you've got to sell a lot, you're constantly just doing that lower part of the funnel. Whereas if it's a posh brand that you're, like you said, we just need to keep top of mind, we're doing much more in the top of the funnel.
Okay. Do you sometimes do both? You do the
I'll usually do both.
Okay.
Just that what that ratio looks like depends on the brand.
Hey, folks, we're just taking a short break from our conversation to remind you that if you're enjoying this podcast content, you'd like more of this type of content and access to great workshops, join the Buddez community at Buddez.com. That's the Buddez community at Buddez.com. Now, let's get back to our conversation. Okay. So do you work on funnels too with your clients?
Yes. So most clients that come to us already have some kind of funnel already, and we're adjusting that.
Okay. You're testing their funnel.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly. We're testing it. And we're putting so we will be looking at their existing data, like I said, going through all their analytics and all of that kind of thing, and going, well, you've got too many people falling off here. What's going on?
Yes.
Why are they falling off here?
Yes. Well, you've got thousands of leads and 2 sales. What's going on?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. What's wrong with your website?
Or
what's wrong with your leads?
What's wrong with your lead? What's wrong with your product? What's wrong with you?
Yeah. So you've got to really analyze, like, where is that actually coming through? And where are people falling off? And then you can start looking at the data and go, why? And then once you've got why, we then come up with a bunch of hypotheses as to how we could fix that. So we go, we think by changing this part of the website, it's going to increase conversion. And then we'll put that through a test. So like you said, we may do just A/B, where we send 50% of the traffic to one version of the page and 50% to the other version of the page. And then over time, we can then see which version converts better.
Okay. It's very similar to social media marketing testing, because most of the social platforms give you analytics. Yes. And you can test different versions of a video, like different versions of headlines, different versions of thumbnails, and the whole range. And you can see pretty quickly, like in the first couple of hours, what's working and what's not. And most of those platforms give you a lot of free analytics because they want your content to work. It's in their best interest.
Absolutely. Yes. Although what we find on websites when we're doing things with social media, so if, for example, when we're doing Facebook advertising and Google advertising, they tell us how many people went through to purchase from one of their ads. They're very biased. So we might have 3 sales, and Facebook decided that 2 of them were theirs, and Google decided that 2 of them were theirs. I'm like, well, that doesn't add up, because that maths doesn't work. So, but basically, as long as somebody touched something in Facebook to do with us, or somebody touched something in Google to do with us, Google will claim it or Facebook will, but there's a very good chance that someone will do both.
Yes, if they're looking around. I guess it gets more complicated because Google own YouTube. So if you watched a YouTube video and then you watched a YouTube video, Google would take credit for that. Whereas if you saw it on Facebook, Meta would take credit for that.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And and they could have done both. So then they'll both take credit and your numbers don't add up. So that's where it's quite good just to have a few different analytics involved. Yeah. Just to kind of compare them.
You think there's sometimes a little bit of puffery in marketing, do you, Emily?
Absolutely, 100%. They want you to pay more for their adverts, so they'll go, our adverts convert way better than the other person's.
Yeah, but ours are much bigger, better priced, more shiny.
And you again see that more. Again, it really, like this. It comes down. One of the reasons we love doing testing is because we've worked in the industry a long time. We know what's best practice, but every product seems to be, and every company seems to be slightly different. So when you're working with those high-end products, you will see a lot of different companies attributing it to them, because say you are buying a car, you will go and watch a review video about it, and you will click on a couple of ads, and you might see it in Facebook and go, oh yeah, that's right, I was looking at that one. You'll look at it in a few different places because you're doing your research. As a big purchase, you're going to do that. Whereas if you're just doing an impulse purchase on Facebook, you're likely just to press it and go through.
Yes. So I might have seen an ad on Facebook. I might have seen and even seen an ad on the podcast. Right? I could have seen multiple ads because normally they know what you're looking for. Like if I'm searching for Toyotas, I'm going to get served up more Toyota content, Toyota ads.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what we call remarketing advertising.
Yeah.
And as soon as you've clicked on one and you've gone through, it marks you as having had some interest in that, and it's going to show you those ads all over the place then.
Yes. It's going to get spammed with that product.
Yeah.
And people driving it, talking about it, looking at it.
Yep.
Yes. So be careful what you're talking about in front of your phone.
I know they claim they don't do that, but 100% it happens to me all the time.
It's really there's a show in Australia called MAFS, Married at First Sight.
Yes.
And my wife loves it. And I was walking through the lounge room one night and I just said, oh my God, this show, it drives me crazy, the maps. And we spoke about maps for maybe 5 minutes. I went into my man cave and suddenly on my phone, I'm getting all this maps content and maps free. I'm thinking, that's just weird.
It happens all the time. Yeah, when we're chatting with my friends and we'll chat about a product and all of a sudden it comes up in my Facebook feed.
But they're not listening to it, are they, Emily? They're
no, not at all.
No, not at all. This is awesome. So if someone's thinking about A/B testing, or not just broader than A/B testing, obviously, but thinking about the sort of things you're talking about with us today, we're going to put your contact details in the show notes so people can reach out to you. And you're happy to say, talk to them and give them advice.
Yeah, so we'll do a free little audit even. So we do free audits for people just to check over their site, even just checking they've got analytics and stuff installed and just the basics started first. But if they have, then we can go through their analytics and just do a very quick audit of what might be going wrong on their site.
Okay. And maybe they wouldn't even know what's going wrong because it's never gone right.
Yeah, absolutely. So we can have a look and we can compare it against other industry benchmarks. So it's some of their competitors and see, if it's similar, then you go, okay, well, perhaps that's just the conversion rate you expect for that industry. But if they're wildly wrong, then you will go, okay, well, what's going on here? What's actually happening in this?
Okay. So you can check competitors, or you can check industry averages?
To a certain extent, yeah. Obviously, we can't go into a lot of detail with competitors, but we can get some information from Google around what their competitors are doing.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it just gives you a baseline for what you can be looking at and what you should be aiming for as well.
Okay.
They even do it with email newsletter. So email newsletters is another way we do a lot of A/B testing, especially things like abandoned cart emails and stuff like that. We'll do a lot of testing in those around different offers and things like that, and see which one brings people back more. But again, we'll do that kind of testing, and in those email clients, they will give you a benchmark of what they expect for your industry.
Okay. Because I think a lot of small business owners I talk to, it's a lot about what their personal preference is. Like they say,
absolutely.
My preference is to send written emails or written updates. They think, well, that's great. That's your preference, but what about their preference?
Yes.
What about, because maybe your customers have got a different preference than you. Just because you like it doesn't mean they do.
So everything we do is data based. We're very scientific with the stuff we do. Obviously, like I said, we've worked in the industry a long time. We know what the best practices are, but that changes constantly. So we will always make sure, one of the things that you really important with A/B testing is that it is risk mitigation as well. So there's a very famous example of Walmart in the US where they surveyed all of their customers when they came to the site, fill in this little survey, and what the customers said they wanted was a less cluttered site. So they removed loads of stuff and their sales tanked because it's a bit like having all the stuff at the checkout, all the sweets and stuff. Now, everyone hates it, or they say they hate it, but it converts. So you can say you hate it all you want, and your customers might say one thing, but their behavior is very different.
Yes. And a lot of those confectionery manufacturers sell most of their stuff through impulse buys. No one's going out deliberately to buy a packet of lollies, but
you might
exactly.
really hate that pop-up that comes up on the website for you find it really annoying. But you tell you what, we do them for a reason, because they convert.
And they work and people like them.
Yeah.
Yes.
They say they don't, but they do.
Have you noticed a boom in e-commerce since COVID?
We had a massive boom in e-commerce during COVID, and it's dropped off significantly since then.
Okay. But those stores still exist.
We've had quite a few close.
Okay.
Yeah, the competition's really tough at the moment, particularly with, extra stuff from happening in the US and things like that. So, that's always an issue when there's a bit of uncertainty going on. Shopify had a massive growth during COVID, and then they've had a drop off, well, not drop off, but very much a slowdown in terms of take up of that. A lot of people were forced online. We had various people we helped out during COVID that were forced online to do click and collect and things like that because they, that was the only way they could sell, and then have kind of slowly wound that back.
Okay. So what's some final advice you'd give people, Emily, thinking about this?
So the first thing to do is just get your data set up. So make sure that you're tracking.
Yeah.
And make sure that your data is correct. We see a lot of incorrect Google Analytics, like there might be 2 tags on there, or it's firing twice, or things like that. So the first thing to do is just make sure all your data's right, because that's going to be your baseline for doing any testing.
Okay, cool. Emily, thank you for being a guest on the
Thank
Buddies
you.
podcast today. Thanks for listening to this Buddies podcast. To get all the podcasts and great workshops, visit buddies.com and join our community. We'll see you there. Bye for now.